Everybody's got that story.
Everyone's got that gas story. I remember that like clear as day. That's fucking horrible. Because we had, so it was like a round robin bracket in the beginners and all the brackets. I think the only was the advanced that was single elimination. So if you lost, you out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I obviously wasn't advanced. But I know that's when Rico was also still rolling. So I was rolling in the beginner division. I rolled, I think, 5 guys because we were 6 guys in the bracket. I rolled 5 times. Out of the 5 times, I got 2 submissions. And the other 3 times I rolled like for 10 minutes straight.
Jeez,
so it was win, lose, or draw. So if you no submission, you draw. And my first 2 fights were 10 minutes. So the second guy I fought, I also fought at the end for gold. But as I was like rolling with him, he pulled guard and I was like, what's this? And then I just sat in his guard and he triangled me like, but it was like, we played around for like, I'd say like quite a few minutes, like 8 or so minutes before I just fell into his guard and he triangled me. I was like, oh, this is great. And I was like just dead tired.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting experience.
What was the scene like back then? Because I know you said people were, because I dabbled a bit in jiu-jitsu like in 2008 around there for a couple of months. And it was also just people in the garages, basically.
Yeah, it was.
And it was like a handful of people that maybe knew about it, you know, and then some people that spoke about it but didn't do it, you know.
There's a lot of times where people would like speak about it, but it's like, you know, like some, you know, sexual thing almost. People are like, oh, you're gonna roll around with some dudes.
Yeah, with their legs around your waist.
I feel like a lot of people are trying to. Some people like Craig Jones are trying to bring that back. So no, it was quite it was quite different. It was also like a. Now you can say like now I can go, hey, I do MMA, and people are like, oh, like cage fighting, or people are like, oh, like UFC,
like Conor McGregor.
Yeah, oh, look, exactly. But then if you were like, I would have to go, oh, I do MMA. And then people would be like, what? I'd be like, mixed martial arts. They'd be like, what?
Like karate.
I'm like, no, I would usually go like wrestling. And they're like, oh, okay. Like with the spandex. Or like, without the spandex. They're like, that's more gay.
That's weird.
Okay, never mind. But yeah, it was, a lot of the times, there wasn't like really kids doing it. So there was back then there weren't like kids competitions. Like, not that I could remember. And it was very like, a lot of garage. I remember like Hanu from 10th Planet also out of his garage, Rico out of his garage. I think Anthony Kettle back then when he had Black Panther or Panthers, yeah. He had an actual gym, which was, I mean, quite cool. That's where we had a lot of the Panther fight nights as well back then. Yeah, I think my brother's first fight was at a Panther fight night as well. But a lot of them were just like guys that fight, or they didn't like transition a lot, so it wasn't like someone that came from school. So I think I was part of like the first, you know, the people that started purely with MMA. Like there's not a lot of them. There's a lot of people from way back that started with wrestling and went over. Like if you look at the UFC, the new crop is all that, like they started right in school. They started with MMA and then they start with BJJ and they go up. Whereas like a lot of them back then were like guys like, oh, I did some boxing and let's box, or I street fight and now I fight, or I did taekwondo and now I want to do this, or I did karate as a kid and I have nothing else to do with my time. So it changes. Like it changed from what it was back then till now. Now it's more of like the arts of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Back then it was more of like we're here to fight and, you know, maybe we'll learn some cool shit, you know?
Yeah, back then, I don't know, Rico was saying there was like, before fights, you could speak to each other and be like, agree on rules, basically. There was no like set rules. Yeah. It wasn't unified rules or anything like that. So if you wanted to bite and I was cool with biting, we could bite each other in fights.
It was, I had about a few guys that were like, they would stand at the back and be like, I want to headbutt someone. Yeah. And the other guy's like, yeah, but we're fighting. So he's like, you want to do it? He's like, yeah.
Okay, let's just do it.
So way back, I remember there was a few guys like that would like have headgear on and get ready, and the other guys like wouldn't have headgear and be like, but you're not wearing headgear. It's like, I don't want to wear headgear. And the other guy's like, I don't want to wear headgear. The rest like, okay, don't wear it then. But now it's like, and then like in the middle of fights, the guys, the headgear, because it was that scrum hats, the headgear would shift the whole time.
You couldn't see anything.
And then you couldn't see, the one guy, as you would hit him, you would go, screw you, and then pull it. And then it covers your face. And then they would say, no, and then the ref would take it off and just chuck it to the side and be like, good luck. But also back then, so now it's changed because they've got like uniformed like socks, like the sock shin pads, and the bigger, I think it's like the 9-ounce gloves, the small 9-ounce gloves, but it's like still much more padded, as opposed to the UFC, those like 4-ounce gloves.
4 ounce, yeah.
So the guys back then, I don't think they wore shin pads. They just wore the headgear and gloves. And then it changed to, okay, gloves, but shin pads, but no headgear. And then it changed to the bigger gloves with shin pads. And, yeah, it changed a lot.
I mean, I've been punched with that headgear on and obviously without the headgear on. And to me, there's not really much of a difference.
No, I find with the headgear, I've sparred a lot with headgear on. And I find it, firstly, it gives me like that confidence of, I can get hit. It's, I don't like it for that. I know a lot of guys spar with it and, whatever. I usually sparred with it only not to get cut.
Okay.
But I wouldn't spar with it like on the daily. Because if you don't fight with it, what's the point? But if it's like, for sparring, if you spar with the headgear on, I feel like you are more prone to getting hit because your vision is kind of like limited, and then your head's a little bit bigger than it usually is, and you're feeling covered. You're like, oh, okay. It's like wearing a body pad. Like, I'd rather get hit there. Like, I'm wearing a headgear. Hit me in the head. I don't care. But cumulatively, I think it's like way worse.
Yeah, it doesn't really lessen the impact, actually.
No, and it sucks in MMA if you wear headgear because it's very quick for it to just turn slightly unless you've got like a proper exact fitting headgear, which some people do. Like a lot of guys wear it just for the ears so that they don't get collies, but everyone's different. I just don't. I used to spar with it a few times, and then I felt like I would get rocked so much more. And then I took it off, and like the punches land, but then I address them immediately. Where with headgear I get hit, and then I'm like, whatever. And then I get hit again and again and again. And then by the time I'm like, oh shit, I have to address this, it's a bit too late.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that clip, I've got another one for you over here and over here. Please don't forget to subscribe over here and have a look at my other socials down in the description box below. Thanks for watching.